This video is brought to you by Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist, my new book, which is a comprehensive guide to all aspects of music theory necessary for playing rock guitar. From blues to the cycle of fifths, from understanding and using modes to choosing the right notes for a melodic solo, from pentatonic scales to chord construction and keys. It's all covered in a clear and concise manner. With accompanying video demonstrations, jam tracks and tabs, you'll learn to use the knowledge you gain in accessible ways that make sense for less than the cost of a few guitar lessons. Check out the link in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now if that solo sounded a little bit Thin Lizzy, there's a very good reason for that. It's not from a Thin Lizzy song, it's from a song off this album. The album is called All Hell Breaks Loose by the Black Star Riders. The song is called Kingdom of the Lost. And just a brief history lesson here. What happened was in about 2010, Scott Gorham decided to put together a reformed version of Thin Lizzy to go out and play rock festivals, essentially kind of working the nostalgia circuit. I think Brian Downey was involved, John Sykes, and I think, who did have involved? Ricky Warwick from the old band The Almighty, if you remember them. He was on vocals. Anyway, what happens? You get a bunch of musicians in a room together and they start riffing and coming up with ideas, and basically new material was born. They didn't want to release it under the Thin Lizzy banner, so they formed this new project, the Black Star Riders, which still are going to this day. Many lineup changes. Scott Gorham is no longer involved. I think the only original member now is Ricky Warwick. But certainly go and check out that album, All Hell Breaks Loose. Lots of great Thin Lizzy kind of soundings. It really does feel like the Thin Lizzy album that could have been, really. And it's I love the album. Anyway, I thought I'd choose that solo to have a look at, because I'm a big fan of like that harmonised guitar, Thin Lizzy kind of thing. And also, it does illustrate a bit of a problem that I think many people were unaware of when they bought a certain Boss pedal back in the 90s. Here's a bit of an explanation.
Solo explanation.
Okay, starting as always by looking at the chord sequence the solo is played over. It goes like this. So aside from where it modulates into C minor at the end of the solo there, all of those chords, F, B flat, C and D minor, are all straight out of the key of F major. No fancy modal stuff, no modulations or key changes going on here, just straight up key of F major, which means that we're going to be using the F major scale, which has the notes of F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E and F. And the melody, such as it is, the harmony part, the solo, if you want, whatever you want to call it, is based entirely on notes from that scale. And it's harmonised. Now, the principle of harmony is that whenever you have a note that you're using as your melody, what you do is you figure out the scale that you're using to create the melody, in this case the F major scale, and the harmony part is 3 scale steps above. So if we count F as note 1, then note 3 is A, F, G, A. So whenever the main melody is playing an F note, the harmony part plays an A note. And whenever the melody part is playing a G note, we count that as note 1, and we count up 3 scale steps, G, A, B flat. The G note is harmonised with the B flat, and so on. So you're basically kind of tracking notes always 3 scale steps apart. but not quite always 3 scale steps apart. If we take a look at the first couple of bars of tab, we can see the guitar 1 part. I'm calling that the main melody, and guitar 2 is the harmony part. Guitar 1 goes, and guitar 2 goes like that, and you can kind of hear that it's not exactly tracking it parallel, and that's to do with the chords that we're playing over. If we just take a look and see how this is harmonized, these are the parts here which I've shaded in kind of mustardy, orangey, yellow colour, which are actually in thirds as described, but these parts, they're actually in fourths. So the notes in the guitar 2 part are not 3, but 4 scale steps above the notes in the guitar 1 part. Why is that? Well, as I say, it's to do with the chords that we're playing over. Let's say that we have a G note, okay? The kind of... that G note there, okay? That is happening over a C chord, okay? Before it goes to the F, like that, okay? So that's a note that's actually in the C chord. That G note is in a C chord. You don't need to know any theory to figure that out. You can actually see. There's a C chord. It's got that G note in it. Now, if we harmonise that G note in the manner described earlier, count 3 scale steps up from G, G, A, B flat, that takes us to a B flat note. Okay? So what's the problem there then? Well, that B flat note isn't actually in a C chord. Okay? It can be in an extended form of a C chord, like a C dominant 7th or 9th or something like that, but it's not actually there in the chord that we've got, a C major chord. And a general principle of harmonizing, of writing a melody, I should say, is that any prominent note in the melody, and that is a pretty prominent note in that melody, needs to be drawn from the chord that's kind of sitting underneath it. Otherwise, it'll sound a little bit sort of, well, not wrong, but not entirely kind of resolved. So, in those kind of circumstances, here's what you do. You just harmonise the prominent notes in fourths if the harmony takes you outside the scope of the notes that are in the chord. This is one of the reasons why that, to much fanfare back in the 1990s, gosh, about 25 more years ago, Boss came out with an intelligent harmonizer pedal. Until then, you'd had pitch shifters, which, you know, you could set it to a 4th or a 3rd or whatever, but it didn't know what key you were in, so it would eventually land on some wrong notes if you weren't careful. Well, even if you were careful, it would. And a mate of mine bought one of these because he was doing some solo gigs and he wanted to do some Thin Lizzy songs with guitar harmony parts, just to backing tracks. And it didn't work out for him. Why? Because the pedal didn't know the chord sequence he was playing over. So you could set it to being in the key of C major or F major or whatever, and set it to 3rds or 6ths or 4ths or whatever, and it would track perfectly in that key, but it wouldn't take account of the chord changes. And this meant that some of his harmonies didn't sound wrong, but they didn't sound like the harmonies on these cover songs that he was playing. And he quickly regretted his purchase because it was just meant he couldn't use it. So that is the basic principle of harmony which is at work in this solo. Track the melody in thirds, 1, 2, 3. When the melody rather is playing that note, the harmony is playing that note, and so on. But you do have to take into account the chord sequence, and if a prominent note in the melody, when you harmonise it, gives you a note that's outside the chord, you need to just kind of tweak it to bring it back in. And hopefully that's all made sense, and now you know what to do. Go away and have some fun with it yourself. And as always, you'll find a full tab for the solo in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it, that explanation you've just seen there, and a backing track to play the solo yourself. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, link in the description, as I'm sure you know by now. $3 or £3 a month gets you access to all of these additional resources that go along with these YouTube videos, and a massive, massive thank you, of course, to everyone who supports me in that, or any of the other ways, all of which are down there in the description. But that is pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful and informative and hopefully entertaining in some small way. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell in case you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time. We drink beer and talk about whatever, usually guitar and music related topics, but it can and often does go anywhere. It's a great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.